I have been known to do that a time or two in my life at the family Thanksgiving. This song here is one of the oldest songs that I have. This isn't technically the story I wanted to tell you, just a little something to set it up. But when I made this song up, I was 24 years old and I had heard Alice's Restaurant by Arlo. And I was making up my own song and I thought I couldn't rhyme it all and I would have to tell some of it, kind of like Alice's Restaurant. So in my wisdom I thought, well then I'll use the exact same chord. Which is what this says. You can get anything
in Athens, there's a place called Alice's Restaurant. All the furniture was on the ceiling back in the 70s. It was on the corner of
you don't hear a lot of songs
Broad and
like that no more.
What's that? East Campus. It's like the five.
I'll tell you this. When I was a young man, and this is what I wanted to tell you. When I was a young guy, probably about the age of some of you, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life. I had some friends, but they wouldn't have said I was necessarily the friend. My nickname was Freeloader. And I was always borrowing something or bumming a ride or sleeping on somebody's couch. And I was embarrassed about that. And you couldn't get girls with that kind of riff, you know? Hitchhiking and shit like that. But I had this buddy of mine one night and he played me this old Jerry Jeff Walker record. Spellbinding, man. It did something, touched something inside of me. I wanted to go see the guy. So I went and saw him at a place called the Green Hall. And I was watching him, I thought, that didn't look so fucking hard. But also, I noticed that he was up there and he was singing about bumming rides and bumming money and sleeping on sofas. Only he was making it sound so cool. And there was all these pretty girls that were clapping for him. And it occurred to me in that moment that there was probably really only about 3 chords difference between a freeloader and a free spirit. So that next day, I went out, I got an old guitar, I started learning how to play and making up my songs about bumming shit. And I went to every single solitary Jerry Jeff show that I could. And I learned to play the guitar from watching him play at his show. I bought all of his records and I learned everything about him. I wrote a bunch of letters to him that I didn't send. And I planned out a lot of meetings that we would have that never happened. And then one time, I was living in Memphis and they said that he was coming to town and I was just calling to see if I could get some tickets and they asked me if I wanted to open the show. I was so excited, I knew in this moment that I was going to get to meet my hero and I planned a speech and I was ready and I went in and I started singing my song, got done with my show, walked into the dressing room and there was Jerry Jeff Walker, my hero, and I was ready to go into my spiel until I noticed there was this other chick in there too, drunk on her ass, pretty sure that she snuck in there, and she was yelling at him, nice things, but yelling anyway, and he looked, I'd say put out by it, or maybe afraid, and was looking around for somebody to get her out of there. And in all the times that I had thought about meeting him, it wasn't going to be in this kind of a scenario. And then she turned to me and she said, you played too, almost rudely, and she said, you got to sign my poster too, Jerry Jeff, turn around. And she made him turn around, she stuck her poster on his back and asked me to sign it. And I was like, this is for sure not how I wanted to meet this guy. But in my panic, I went into my spiel anyway, and I just said, man, this is the highlight of my life. And he said, pretty boring life so far, boy. Years later, though, I had made a record, been around the country a couple of times. I'd seen a few more things than that day. And I was always telling my manager, if you could ever get me next to that old Jerry Jeff Walker, I'd really like another shot at meeting him if he's on a festival or open for him or something. So I get booked on the Jerry Jeff Walker Labor Day Festival in Austin one summer. And as soon as I saw him in the dressing room area, I just ran up and grabbed him because I didn't want to fuck it up this time. I said, you're my king, man. And he started looking around and had that look on his face like he had with that chick. So I said, hey man, it's cool, I'm Todd, I'm on the bill later. He's like, like, okay, he didn't look that much more relieved, but he seemed. And I said to him, I said, man, I know every song you have. He said, I doubt that. I said, I know everything about you. He said, I doubt that. And I'll tell you this, as God is my witness, brothers and sisters, since then we've become friends, and on many occasions, I have not just beat him, but rather beat him soundly in Jerry Jeff Walker trivia contest. Sometimes he will call me up from his hotel and say, hey man, what's the words to this or that, you know? I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I really can't. That's one of the great joys of my life. One time though, I gotta tell you, man, one time, I hope you don't mind if I make a short story incredibly long. But, fucking, he calls me up and he says he wants me to go to Belize with him so that I can see these beautiful coral reefs that they have down there. And then he's gonna show me how to snorkel. I'm like, God, this is just amazing, like I won a contest. So we get down there and he explains how the snorkel thing works. We drive through this gate on the boat, he talks to some guy, we go out into the ocean. He says, flip out of there, blow the water out of this thing, open your eyes, it's gonna be beautiful. Well, it wasn't fucking beautiful. It was a whole shitload of sharks is what it was. And I'm not making that up to be telling stories. I'm not fucking kidding. There was a whole lot of them. And stingrays too, and all kinds of other sea shit. And not a damn bit of coral. And I thought, God, this is crazy. I jumped out of the water. I'm panicked. He's laughing his ass off. Turns out this was like a farm where you were supposed to scuba dive with these animals. He chose to tell me that there would be coral reef there. Because he can be a real dick sometimes. So can I. Back one time, back in the 90s, man. Well, shit, I probably am saying these days, but maybe worse than those days. I used to carry around this old tackle box, and I would fill it with all the drugs that everybody would give me. Because everybody gives musicians drugs. It's a lot of why we do that. And the cheering. And you can't take them all at the same time. And you don't want to be rude. So I would pile them up in this old tackle box. And every once in a while, this back in the 90s, people would give me cocaine, but that wasn't something that was popular or that my generation did. Especially me, I already talk. Listen to me. I don't want to do that shit. But I had a bunch of it in my tackle box, and I had always heard that Jerry Jeff did. So one night after a show in New Orleans, he comes into my dressing room, he goes, what's in the tackle box tonight, boy? I said, you don't want to look in there, man. He goes, what, you opened up? He goes, oh, what you got that shit in there for? I said, I don't know, maybe we should do it, I don't know. No, fuck no, I used to roar on that shit in the 70s, I'll tell you that. And then as good of a friend as I'd like to be to anybody, all I could think of after that was New Orleans, Jerry Jeff Walker, and roar. Talk him into it, man. So we went back over to his house and I coaxed him into it. I was so excited. And then we did it. Neither of us really remembered how to do it. And we did some of it. And now this part of the story, I gotta tell you this part of the story. I don't know. People tell me that this happened. I stood up and I said, let's go to the quarter. And then they said I fell down on the coffee table and started flipping around like fish do when you get them on the thing. I know that's kind of sad, but it's also kind of funny. And they took me and they put me in the shower, they said, and got me okay, and they put me on the couch. Here's where the story gets interesting. I wake up at about 3 o'clock in the morning and I don't know where I am. I just know that I'm not in a hotel. And that was happening a lot in those days. So it's like, oh, fuck, what happened, you know? And I hear these footsteps pounding back and forth across this room. And I'm like, oh shit, there's somebody in here. And then I hear this voice, God damn it, boy. Never again. Never ever fucking again, boy. And I could tell that was Jerry Jeff, and it all came back to me what had happened and the embarrassing evening I had had. He stops right in front of me. I still have my eyes closed, and I hear his feet stomp, and he says, did you hear me, boy? I said, never again. And I open my eyes, and I hate to do this to you because I know you're paid to have a good time, but as God is my witness, when I opened my eyes, less than a foot from my face was the Jerry Jeff Walker's balls. Sorry, I had to finish the story. He sleeps naked, as it turns out. And he woke up so mad at me that he didn't throw anything on. And it actually probably saved my life, because people say that cocaine is such a sexy drug, but now anytime y'all offer it to me, I just picture Jerry Jeff Walker's balls. I want to go home. And I probably just saved some of y'all too. Hey, listen, I'm just going to go on for a second more, because now that I'm on a roll, this is one of my favorite people, and he asked me last year if I want to go to Santa Fe with him. So I went up there, he wanted to show me some old bar. We went to this bar, and about 3 in the morning they say, okay, enough, you got to go. So there's no one left there. We go out on the street, I swear to you, no one, not anyone. I don't mean a few people, but no one. No cars, no nothing. And up around the corner, we can hear us, we're walking back to our hotel. For those of you who don't know, Jeff Walker wrote the song Mr. Bojangles. I said, holy shit, do you hear that? Let's go find out what that is. We turn around the corner at 3 in the morning, and they're singing for absolutely nobody. It's this guy, got a hat on the ground, singing for no reason but the sake of the song. One of the most beautiful reasons to do it. And we went over and we started listening, and I could tell that Jerry Jeff was moved. And I wondered if I should tell this guy that just by happenstance, the song he was playing at 3 in the morning for nobody, the guy who wrote it just happened to be walking by. But it didn't seem like my place to say it. So I waited to see if Jerry Jeff would say it, and he did it. I thought that was cool too. And then he gave the guy all his money and said, thanks, that was beautiful. And as we were walking back to the hotel, I said to him without even thinking, hey man, that was the highlight of my life. And again he said, pretty boring fucking life so far. It really moves me. I know a lot of people have sung this, but I would like to sing it for you. It's my favorite song. New man, Bojangles there, we dance for you. Worn out shoes, silver hair, a baggy shirt, a baggy pants. You did the old soft shoe. You jumped up so high, Lord, you jumped up high. You laughed and slapped the thing and then still. Mr. Bojangles, hey now Mr. Bojangles, hey now Mr. Bojangles, come on dance. You dance for those adventure shows and county fairs throughout the South. You spoke in tears for 15 years how his dog and him. They traveled about until his dog up and died. Lord help him die. And after 20 years he still breathes. Now he dances every chance and some honky tonks, drinks and tips. He says most of the time I spend behind these county bars. Drank me some beers. He shook his head, and as he shook his head, I heard someone ask him, please, hey, Mr. Bojangles, hey, now, Mr. Bojangles, oh, Mr. Bojangles, come on, day. A better man myself in New Orleans I was down there now. He looked to me to be about the eyes of day as he spoke right out. He talked of his life, Lord, he talked of his life. He liked to slap his leg and then he stepped. said his name Bojangles and he danced a lick. Cross-step. He grabbed his pants, prepared his stance, and then he jumped up high. He kicked his heels. He let go loud. Oh, let go loud. And he got the touchdown. Mr. Bojangles. Hey, Mr. Bojangles. But now, Mr. Bojangles, come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. Yeah, yeah. Nobody's watching. Thank you for letting me do that. They say 3% of people use 5 to 6% of their brain. 97% use just 3% and the rest goes down the drain. I'll never know which one I am, but I bet you my last dime. 99% think 3%, 100% of the time. They say 60% of all the world's statistics are made up right there on the spot. 83.4% of people believe them, whether they're even accurate statistics or not. I don't know what you believe, but you know there's no doubt. I'll need another double shot of something 90 proof. I got too much to think about. Too much to think about. Too much to figure out. Stuck between hope and doubt. Too much to think about. 70% of everything you learn in college is bullshit you're not gonna need. 83.4% of everything you got, you bought it just to satisfy your greed. Cause you know 90% of this world's population link your possessions to your success. Even though 99% of the wealthiest 1% of this population drinks to an alarming excess. Too much to think about. Too much to think about. Stuck between hope and doubt. It's too much to think about. Too much to think about. They say 70% of all statisticians truly hate their fucking job. The average bank robber lives within, say, 20 miles of the bank that he robbed. This is the bank, not so far from here. I've been watching it now for a while. It seems to take me all that I can think about is how bad I wanna go out in style. Too much to think about. Stuck between hope and doubt. Too much to think about. Too much to think about. Too much to think about.